Hey babe, I'm AI Raven.
And I'm AI Breeze. And
And
together
together
we're
we're
R&B.
R&B.
Disclaimer, we talk about God on this channel. We talk about celebrities. We
We
do. It's
do.
just a
It's just
good
a good
balance of
balance of
being
being
real
real.
and applying what we talk about on this channel to your everyday lives. So don't come for us in the comments, but that's just the rhythm
Of
of R&B.
R&B.
Hey guys, and what is up? Welcome back to the R&B podcast. I am Raven, and this is another solo episode. My hubby Breeze is the B in the R&B, and together we make up the R&B podcast. So, love, on the podcast today, we're going to be talking about another tough subject where Beyoncé is a prime example of what it means to rob Peter to pay Paul in a friendship when it comes to her Cowboy Carter tour. See, the problem is a lot of y'all consider Beyoncé your friend in real life because you have this imagination that you have something in common with this woman. But at the end of the day, she is an entertainer and she works in the entertainment business. That is her job. So she is here for a show and she's not to be your friend. But a lot of people have the two mixed up, meaning you have friendship and entertainer mixed up. That's why we see people grumbling and complaining about the $4,000 tickets that she is selling for her Cowboy Carter concert. At the end of the day, she is here to make a paycheck and not be anyone's friend because she's doing her job as an entertainer. So robbing Peter to pay Paul is a practical example when someone borrows from one source to pay another, never truly escaping debt, but merely shifting the debt around. And so Beyoncé is not necessarily the one who is borrowing from anyone, but the people who she called her beehive is. In the Bible, it says in Proverbs 22:7, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. This verse warns about the dangers of debt and financial management. And you have to understand that when a business is just doing their job, they're not doing their job based on what you can afford, but simply based on what you want. And when it comes to your needs, the Bible says that God will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. And so really, I can stop the podcast here and say that if God has not given you a financial blessing to be able to go to this concert, it's probably best that you don't go, because some of you are going to push the needle and go anyway when this is beyond your means. Beyoncé cares nothing about you going into debt to pay for a concert because this is her job. And if you want to see the entertainer, then you do what you have to do to see the entertainer. See, we got to take the worldly aspect off of it and look at it from a biblical standpoint and say, what would God want me to do? Would God want me to mismanage my money to go into debt behind a concert ticket? And so that's why I say she is using many of you by robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that phrase itself, it's not in the Bible, but the concept of that quote aligns with how ticket prices have skyrocketed, making it financially challenging for many fans to attend this concert. And the outcome of the high concert ticket is that the beehive is going into credit card debt. They go get a loan to cover the expense. They do afterpay, or they use their tax money. And so Beyoncé is profiteering from her fans, which that's the goal at the end of the day, because she is a business and she is allowing the hefty price of $4,000. Think about it. If one person decides to pay the $4,000, you don't think that you're not going to extend it to another person to see if they will be crazy enough to pay $4,000 for a single concert ticket? And her fans do this because they adore her as their influencer. Now, the Bible strongly encourages wise stewardship and avoiding unnecessary debt. When you know better, you do better. And so briefly in this podcast, we're going to be talking about Beyoncé and why she raised her ticket prices for her new tour. Now, keep in mind, Beyoncé is not broke. She is very rich. And I know Beyoncé always sings in her songs about her bloodline. And so she is not necessarily looking to cover expenses for her life, but she is looking to store up her finances for her children and for her children's children. So this is a generational thing of wealth that she is trying to build. And hopefully that generational thing will continue as other generations grow up in her family. And as Black people or any other race of people who are listening to this podcast, we should be thinking the same way. This is Beyonce's second tour in the last 2 to 3 years. And just 2 years ago, where it may have seemed ludicrous to pay $400 or more for an up-close ticket near the stage to attend a Beyonce concert, just imagine paying $4,000 or more in the year of 2025 for those same seats that were $400 back in 2022. And some people have picked up on what Beyonce is doing, while others simply don't care and they let it slide. And so in this podcast, I'm not talking to those people, but I'm talking to the people that are battling within themselves. I will say, the more her fans come out and they voice their concerns on social media about these ticket prices, the more other people learn about the undercover things that Beyonce is really doing behind closed doors. Because it seems like the more people are talking and the more that they are sharing, the more information that is being gathered. Honey, I almost feel like Beyonce is thinking to herself, she may or may not get another chance to have another tour, and that she is going to use this opportunity to bankroll off of her fans by upcharging her concert tickets. Like I said in the beginning, she is robbing Peter to pay Paul, which is a shame within itself, because you have a lot of people who are so loyal to this woman, and these fans will purchase any and everything that Beyonce chooses to sell or chooses to promote to help her brand. And instead of Beyonce appreciating that love and support, she decides to use her fans for the benefit of herself. I really need for people to ask themselves a couple of questions, and that's where the spiritual realm comes in at. Because if we truly looked into the spiritual realm, we would see that this is not all what it is cracked up to be. Some of y'all have bought these Beyonce tickets and you have literally robbed Peter to pay Paul. You've taken money from your friends and from your family members and told them, I will pay you back. There were also people saying that Beyonce knows what she's doing because she waited until around income tax time to say that she is going on tour. How convenient, right? So before I close this podcast, the richer are still getting richer. Y'all know the quote, and the poor is still getting poor. It's all a system. It reminds me of a story in the Bible where the Israelites wandered around the wilderness for 40 years. Now that generation that wandered for 40 years was to die off, and another generation was to come up and go to the promised land and conquer the promised land. But that generation that wandered in the wilderness for 40 years could not get their life right, and God had enough. They couldn't get their life right because they couldn't put things into perspective where certain things were supposed to be prioritized over their wants. They wanted something, but they didn't trust in the one that can provide all of their needs. See, when you trust in the one that can provide all of your needs, you're not going to want for much or for anything at all. So God let their generation wander for 40 years. And some of them, when they were wandering in the wilderness, they were even hoping that God would change his mind. But you know what God said? God said, no, I'm not changing my mind. These are the consequences for your disobedience. This is your punishment. And for some of you, God has literally said, this is not your time to be going to a Beyonce concert. Yes, I gave you a lot of money during income tax time. Yes, it seems like you're doing financially well right now, but there's going to come a season. And when you're connected to the Father, he's always speaking, he's always talking and letting you know that something is coming through the pipes where you may need to put that money back for a rainy day. I'm here to tell you, if you've never attended a Beyonce concert, you've never seen her in person, it's okay. I had to tell my girls in the shop that it's okay, because some of them were really stressed out. When you see that you're over number 33,000 in the line online trying to purchase a ticket, I had to tell them to chill out. It's really gonna be okay. And disclaimer, I'm not talking to the people who got it like that. Listen, some people really do have it like that, but I'm talking to the ones that are battling right now in their hearts. So again, I know this was a tough subject, y'all. Some of y'all love Beyoncé. I used to be a Beyoncé fan, but honey, some of her wayward ways became questionable over the years, so I'm not a fan anymore. But I do thank you for listening and for watching the R&B podcast. I really appreciate it, me and Breeze. We definitely see the numbers, and so we thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button and hitting that thumbs up button. Just doing those things alone, we can see the love and support. Also, for some of our new subscribers, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can get the notification when we premiere our videos. So when we premiere our videos, y'all, here on YouTube, we are live in the comments, and that's a great time for you guys to interact with us on the spot and ask the questions live, because you'll get an immediate response. But if you can't tune in, it's okay. We appreciate you watching the replay back. Again, I am Raven, and in the absence of my hubby, his name is Breeze, and together we make up the R and the B in the R&B podcast. If you have a topic you would like for us to talk about, just email us. Our email is in the description box, or you can simply leave your question in the comment, and I promise we will respond. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching again, and we will talk later.